Good day, people. It's another episode of Uncaged Knowledge. This is Survival Agricultural Unlimited, and we are live at the Agric City. Last episode, we explored the poultry section of the Agric City, and today we'll be exploring the fish section of the Agric City. Listen, you don't want to miss this because we will be having an exciting and interactive section with the fish supervisor of the fishery department of the Agric City. It promises to be great. I remain your host, Tomiwa. Let's go. So here we are, guys, with the fish supervisor of Survival Agricultural Limited. Please, sir, we would like to meet you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Faiz Mayokunraji, the fishery supervisor of Survival Agricultural Limited.
So, sir, we would like you to enlighten us on how to start, a fish farm. What advice would you give to a farmer starting afresh into the fish farm? What are the factors to consider when establishing a fish pond?
Okay, thank you very much. In establishing a fish pond for a fish farming, there are a lot of things to consider. Number one is your suitable land. When considering a land for a fish farming, there are things that need to be considered when selecting a suitable land. One is the topography of the land. The topography of the land in the sense that the land has to be a flat land and it's not a hilly place. Then there are other things to be considered is the source of water. The source of water has to be reliable and has to be clean, and the water chemistry is balanced. The water chemistry in the sense of the pH, the oxygen, the temperature. So in preparing your land for a fish farm, there are things that needs to be done. One is the mapping out of the land. The first size of the pond has to be pegged. Then excavation follows. Excavations by removing the debris and the topsoils. In the excavation process, the dimension of the pond has to be accurately measured by making sure that the depth of the pond is accurately done, our in length and in breadth. That makes us in getting the shape of the pond. Another factor is our soil qualities. So this soil quality is very important. You have to examine the soil composition to ensure it's suitable for water and pond construction. Avoid a rocky and sandy soil to check for proper clay content.
So during the pond preparation, what are the key management practices that should be considered?
Okay, so let me dive into the management practices. The management practices that needs to be done are the fertilization, the liming, the pond impoundment, the netting, then we stocked. But when we are talking about the liming, this is sterilization of the pond using lime, agricultural lime, or our calcium carbonate, CO3. And when we are talking about the fertilization, we have major two fertilizer we use. We have the organic fertilizer, that's when we use the poultry dung, and we have the inorganic one, the NPK. So in using the inorganic fertilizer, the poultry dung has to be put inside the sack and hang at the corners of the pond. This fertilization helps in enhancing the primary productivities of the pond, whereby growth of the planktons, we have the phytoplanktons and we have the zooplanktons, which will serve as a natural feed for the fish. Then our pond deployment, we have to let in fresh water from the dam. We have a nearby dam whereby we source our water into the pond. The water is in their best quality and in quantity. Then we have the netting of the pond. The netting of the pond has to be covered. The pond has to be covered with net so as this net can prevent our fish from unwanted visitors such as snake, dogs, crocodiles, monitor lizard, predators, so as not to gain access to our fish or to predict on the fish. But putting all these management practices into considerations, then we can now proceed in stocking the pond. Then we've already know our stocking density of this pond because we know our dimension of the pond already. Then in calculating with our dimension, we already calculated our stocking density that our nursery pond can accommodate 17,000 pieces of hybrid catfish, whereby we select of high quality fish seed so as to get a productive and a good result.
You made mention of impounding. What do you mean by that word?
Oh, sorry, don't mind me. Impoundment, it means bringing in fresh water into the pond. So this impoundment is one of the critical aspects in fish farming, whereby you need to make sure that your water is of the best quantity and the quality. In quantity, I mean where you be sourcing your water from, whether it's from a natural source, for like a dam, exactly, a dam, or where you be channeling your water from, so that you can just channel your pipes, or so that the water can just flow in directly into the pond. Whereby, or if this natural water body is not available, then you cannot consider digging a borehole. Digging a borehole, but one problem of digging a borehole is it contains high amount of contaminants, whereby the pH varies. And in catfish farming, pH is one of the water chemistry that needs to be considered. Whereby if the pH is not at their desirable range, the desirable range of pH in raising a catfish is between 6.5 to 8.5. That's this desirable range is when the fish can strip very well. Once this pH is below 6.5, that means the water is acidic, and which can affect the health and the growth of the fish. And at the same time, if this pH is lesser than 8.5, that means the water is alkaline, is basic. So, and at the same time, as the water affects fish when it's too acidic, when it's too alkaline, at the same time it also affects the health and the well-being of the fish.
So sir, you made mention of one of the pH, pH, the water quality. So speaking of that, and what other factors or parameters is expected of a farmer to look into?
Okay, a lot of farmers, they overlook or they don't consider these water chemistries, and these water chemistries are very paramount in having a good productivity and in sustainable fish farm. One of these parameters that needs to be considered as well is the dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen in fish farming, fish don't take ordinary oxygen. They have to take the dissolved oxygen inside the water. Normally this oxygen is always present in water, so the dissolved oxygen inside the water is the one the fish make use. The desirable range of dissolved oxygen in water is 5 milligram per liter. When this figure or this value is below or above 5 milligram per liter, it will affect the well-being of the fish. And there are a lot of ways of checking into these parameters by taking your water samples to the lab for analysis, or better still, there is a physical method we use in which you early in the morning or late in the evening, you can just come to your pond, then you can split a little saliva inside the pond. Once this saliva dissolve evenly, or once it dissolve on the surface of the water, that means the water has the dissolved oxygen in the water is of a desirable range. Another parameter that needs to be considered is the temperature. Catfish, they are hypothermic animal in the sense that their body fluid is the same as their ambient environment. Their ambient environment here is water. That means the temperature of the water at that moment is the same as their body fluid. So these particular parameters affect the feed intake of the fish, whereby the top water is hot, the fish will not be coming out well to eat. So in putting this factor into consideration, that's when you have to make sure that your water source must be of high quantity. You say that regulator can be regulated, whereby water comes in and water goes out, whereby regulating the water, regulating the temperature in the water. So these management practices are things that needs to be considered so as to have a successful fish farming, so as to have or to enhance productivities and have a sustainability in fish farming.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir, for this insightful session with you. We have really learned so much about fish farming. And to our viewers out there, now you know the necessary things to put into consideration when you are looking into fish farming. Your location, the topography, the land, stocking, the water source, everything. You've all learned and heard from the source. Thank you very much, sir, for this insightful session.
You're welcome.
Viewers out there, I know you all have learned so much in this episode. And so, till next time we come your screen, this is Uncaged Knowledge from Survival Agricultural Hub Limited. I remain your humble host, Tomiwa. See you next time.